Everybody knows I'm the greatest of all time. GSP's a bum. He's in Canada eating poutine. I'm in America eating poutang.
This is Johnny and Jose with Tiger Bomb MMA, and tonight we'll be going over UFC 268, Usman versus Covington 2. We don't have a whole ton of time. This week's been a bit off. The reason why we're doing this rather late, I've been on vacation for the last week or so. We tried recording last night, which was Monday, November 1st. Just didn't really work out. So I was able to secure a quiet space. So we're going to do the entire card. We'll get right to it. Starting off with a prelim fight at flyweight, CJ Vergara versus Ode Osbourne. Vergara is coming in from the Contender Series where he got a very quick knockout over Bruno Correa. Very impressive. This guy, he is currently 9-2-1, fighting the, I would say, equally a seasoned Osbourne, who is 9-4-0. This one's interesting, and this one's really tough for me to break down because although Ode Osbourne, I'll bring up the odds. I forgot to do that. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Osbourne, -160. Come back on Vergara, +135. This one's tough. I think Osbourne should be favored. I'm surprised Vergara isn't, just because of his, I guess, recent performance. Ode has fought the better competition, recently lost to Manel Cape. Very good back and forth fight. He did get caught with a flying knee, which, funny enough, Anaconda Bets predicted that to a T. He said he was going to get a flying knee knockout, got that win. I actually had money on Osbourne on that fight. I thought he could pull it off. He looked pretty good at flyweight, moving down from 135, 145. It's tough, really, because it's either going to be the aggression and forward movement of Vergara or the, I would say, better overall complete game of Osbourne. I think Osbourne has a chance of getting a decision win or more likelihood of getting a submission over Vergara. The thing about Vergara is that he's a tough guy. Like, he's fought some really good competition. He went to a decision. He lost to Jonathan Martinez, but he went to a decision. So he's been around. He's very good. It's just that he's still unproven. We know what Osbourne can do. It's just that who's going to win this decision? And it's really going to be the forward movement of Vergara or, again, the length of Ode Osbourne. He has a 3.5-inch reach advantage over Vergara. We can see CJ come forward and just try to get the knockout as he did against Bruno in the Contender Series. This one's really tough for me. I'll go with Vergara by decision. I think he has the right mindset, right mentality to win this fight. As long as he moves forward, he lands his combinations, just makes Ode uncomfortable, he can win this decision. I wouldn't touch this one, though. It's very close, in my opinion.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm taking Vergara by flying knee triangle in the second round. So I'm taking Vergara by submission. I'm always safe by just taking every fight by decision, but I'm changing up this week and I'm taking Vergara submission round 2.
Next fight at featherweight, Melsik Baghdasaryan versus the newcomer, another debutant, Bruno Souza, Bruno the Tiger Souza. And I had to watch a bunch of tape on Souza while I was on vacation, and I thought it was easy for me to break down. I thought Souza was going to get knocked out by Melsik because Souza, he is a Machida karate black belt. This dude's been training with Machida for years, right? And funny enough, I was kind of like, man, I wish I was this fucking guy because Machida is one of my favorite fighters of all time. But currently the odds have it in favor. Oh, huge favorite. -280 for Baghdasaryan. Come back on Souza, +220. And immediately I'm thinking, I watched tape on Souza. He's a karate black belt. He's not the best karate type of black belt. Yeah, he can beat mid-level, lower-level competition easily with his footwork and striking, but he leaves his chin open quite a bit. He gets dropped. I think in his last fight in the LFA for the title, he did get dropped by, forgot his name, Garcia. And being that he's a karate guy, he's very lead leg heavy, so there's a clear advantage in the striking for Melsik to just blast that leg. But I still have my reservations about Melsik, as his gas tank can be a bit suspicious. He comes forward immediately in the first round. His takedown defense isn't the best, but his get-up game is pretty good. He's very powerful, which leads to him getting gassed out in the later rounds. So there's always a possibility that eventually a better striker or someone with really good wrestling and striking defense can just tire him out and either beat him in the later rounds or get the decision win, which had me thinking maybe Souza could win this one by decision. He's not the most heavy-handed striker. He's very clean. It's just that, he's not going to be knocking people out anytime soon. In this one, I have to go with Melsik by, I'm going to say, second round knockout, just because Bruno, his defense isn't the best. He gets hit quite a bit. I think Melsik has the ability to catch him and knock him out. If you want, you can potentially do a sprinkle on Souza by decision, because I can see him taking that ass whooping, getting Melsik tired, and then just coasting the last 2 rounds, getting a decision, maybe 29-28, possibly even a split. But I'll go with Melsik to win this one. Currently, I think he's the more proven guy. We'll see what Souza does in the UFC. If he ekes out a decision, good for him, but it's tough for me to go against Baghdasaryan. So I would say second round knockout Baghdasaryan.
Yeah, this is the classic blood sport match, where it's Paco versus, Frank Dukes. I think if they get into that leg kicking contest where they kick each other in the leg and then the ribs and then whatever, I think Paco's going to win this one. I'm also going with Melsik. I think he's going to have the harder kicks, the harder strikes. Bruno might have, the Machida stance. He's trained at the Machida Academy. I think Baghdasaryan, I don't know if he has it necessarily in the bag, but as long as he doesn't, Muay Thai America gym, man, I hope that's not, an affiliate gym of the Glendale Fight Club, because if it is, then Baghdasaryan is fucked. If it isn't, then he has a damn good chance, and you'll see what it would have been like if Paco had won Bloodsport. He would have gone on to fight Chung Lee. But I'm taking Paco by first round head kick KO. Melsik. Sorry.
Our next bout, light heavyweight, short notice bout, John the Hunter Allan versus Dustin the Hanyak Jacoby. This was supposed to be Alexa Kamer versus John Allan. I was at fucking Disneyland doing tape watch on John Allan and Alexa Kamer, or I should say Disney World. And I'm in line for what's it called, the Haunted Mansion, just watching John Allan fight, because I'm like, oh, maybe there's a way this guy as a huge underdog could win this fight against Alexa Kamer. And it came up inconclusive. I thought Alexa Kamer was going to beat him, maybe knock him out in the later rounds, or just edge out a decision. Now that it's Dustin Jacoby, it's like way easier. Dustin Jacoby is going to knock him out in the first round. I think the performances of Dustin Jacoby as of late have been incredible. The way he finished Darren Stewart in the first round was incredible 2 months ago. And John Allan, he is not really impressed. I have to go back and rewatch the Roman Dolidze fight where he lost by split decision. And I'm thinking, I remember that fight. I remember the dread I felt because I bet Roman, and John Allan was like, could have potentially edged out a decision win, because I was literally waiting outside the casino to cash out that ticket, and I'm like nearly shitting myself. And rewatching it, I'm like, there was no way Dolidze was losing that fight. So why it was a split decision, I don't know. He's not very good. He possesses some good qualities, but I don't think he's winning this fight. Jacoby's going to light him up. His takedown defense is getting ever improved. First round knockout, Dustin Jacoby.
I'm also going with Jacoby, but I'm going knee up the middle to the jaw, round 3. So I'm going with Dustin Jacoby, third round knockout.
Next bout, very, very interesting at heavyweight, Gian Villante versus Chris Beast Boy Barnett. This one, it's pretty simple for me, and I hate to say this, but Gian Villante, his heart is no longer in the game. He's just doing this for a paycheck. As much as I like Gian Villante, I think he's a fun guy, very entertaining dude outside of the cage, very fun-loving guy, like the kind of guy you want to hang out with and party with. Unfortunately, I don't want to have to bet my money on this guy. Currently, the odds are near even. We have Chris Barnett minus 115, come back on Villante minus 110. Forgot to mention there's no odds out for Jacoby and Allan, so we'll wait on that. More than likely, Jacoby's going to be a huge favorite. But yeah, I have to go with Chris Barnett. I think the best way I can describe this matchup is that they're both fat, but at least Chris Barnett is athletic fat or fathletic. So I'll go with him to win. I think he has enough in the tank to just stifle John Villante. The thing about John is that if he were to get in better shape, he could win this fight. It's just that he's not getting in shape at all. He just moved up to heavyweight to eat more, just be more relaxed, and it has not done well for him. His losses have been awful. Maurice Green, don't even want to bring that up. Jake Collier, he just doesn't seem to. I don't know. I'm not accusing him of not training, but it's just he doesn't seem to be improving even at heavyweight. Chris Barnett, he needs to get a win. I think he's going to get it. Again, he's very athletic. He's very short. He could even get a knockout, but I'm going to predict this one goes the distance at heavyweight. That's crazy to say, but Chris Barnett wins this one, just being the faster, more athletic guy. Barnett, unanimous decision.
This is probably the fight that you want to avoid at all costs. Don't even think about picking a side. This will most likely go the distance, I believe. It only won't go the distance if Chris Barnett tombstones John Villante or super kicks him or something. I don't know, something like that. Because I see
possible,
Chris Barnett.
Dude. He can super kick him. I'll tell you that. He doesn't look like he can kick, but he can super kick him.
Yeah, because I see like the picture that Tapology has up of Chris Barnett. To me, he looks like one of the Samoans. You know, he looks like one of the wild Samoans or whatever those guys, the head shrinkers. You know, from the '90s. I picture him in like those long tights. You know, with his ankles wrapped up, and then like just super kicking everybody. They were the original super kickers, I think. But anyway, that's what I pictured. But this is going to be a horrible fight. Two guys are severely out of shape. Chris Barnett could probably easily be a welterweight at 5'9", but he's like, you know, almost 100 pounds overweight for that. Meanwhile, John Villante, like you said, he just decided not to cut weight, sit on the couch, and just show up for a fight. This isn't really where you want to pick a side. You know, you want to avoid. There's certain fights you want to avoid at all costs. This is one of them. Avoid the side. Avoid the over/under. Just stay away from it. It's not worth it. But just for the sake of making a pick, I'll pick John Villante. This is do or die for him. I think if he loses here, his fourth, if he loses his fourth, his back is up against the wall. I anticipate him coming out to the Ultimate Warriors theme song with you know, the little things tied to his arm and the face paint and the whole thing. And you know, he's going to want to do the warrior splash from the top of the cage on Chris Barnett. But anyway, this is a, you know, lose-lose situation all around. It's going to be a horrible fight. Whoever wins isn't really going to. I don't know, man. I think whoever wins is probably going to. I don't know. I think they're both going to get cut. This is going to be a horrible fight. I don't think either guy is worth sticking around the UFC. So yeah, there we go. I don't know if I made a pick or not, but if I did.
You said Villante. You're going with decision?
Oh yeah, no, I'm going with Villante by spinning head kick in the second round.
If he can get his leg up that high, maybe. Next bout at welterweight, we've got the debut of the Cage Warriors welterweight champion, former, I should say, Ian the Future Garry. This guy's very fun to watch, very Irish, so just keep that in mind. He's fighting Jordan Boombaye Williams. And this one, you got two possibilities three, I should say, three total possibilities for this one to go. Currently, the odds have it minus 350 for Garry. Comeback on Williams is plus 270. And again, this is at welterweight. Jordan Williams dropped down from middleweight to welterweight, which, number one, that's hugely concerning. And secondly, fuck him, because he got basically knocked out and choked out by Mickey Gall, guy who, frankly, if he didn't cut the weight and they fought at middleweight, he would have, I think, beat the crap out of. Dropping down to middleweight, or from middleweight to welterweight for Jordan Williams, being that he's type 1 diabetic, it's not good for him. And it was not good for his chin. This guy was taking shots from Imavov and surviving, and he takes a shot from Mickey fucking Gall. Although his striking is improving, it's like, oh crap, I made a huge mistake betting on Jordan Williams at welterweight. And Ian Garry, he is primarily a boxer. He's got a very nice 1-2 down the middle. He's a very good striker. He actually went from training in Ireland and moved to Sanford MMA. So his wrestling is improving tremendously. They even did like a UFC did like a documentary, a mini doc on him, just explaining his progression down the line. I think he is going to be not necessarily a huge star, but I think he's going to be one of these guys you got to keep an eye on for. He's 7-0 undefeated. I think he's got everything. He's been in 5-round fights, title fights. He's going to win this one either by knockout in the first round or complete domination on the feet. I don't think he's going to submit Jordan Williams. The other possibility is Jordan Williams could have the performance of his life and get a decision win over Ian Garry. I don't see that happening. I think Garry is going to get that knockout. That chin of Jordan Williams at welterweight is a huge liability. At those odds, I would say stick with the prop bet of possible knockout or decision for Garry. Sprinkle a little bit on either or both. But yeah, Gary's going to win this one, but I'm going to predict first round knockout.
I don't usually, get behind fighters. Oh, hey, that's it. But, I'm not necessarily getting behind Garry. It's just that I think Jordan Williams, he like stumbled into the UFC. He's like 1-1 in the Contender Series, and because he I don't know, man, that guy RoboCop, big letdown. He shit his pants when he fought Jordan Williams. He made Jordan Williams look good, but he's looked like dog shit ever since. And I think that
Jordan Williams or RoboCop?
They both look like dog. Well, here's the thing: Gregory Rodriguez is dog shit, but he made Jordan Williams look good. When Jordan Williams is his skills are dog shit. He's 0-2 in the UFC. I think he's going to be 0-3. I don't know. He just honestly doesn't belong in the UFC. He's more of a Bellator mid card guy, if anything. I would say.
It's funny because he was a Bellator mid card guy.
Yeah, I mean that's where he belongs. He doesn't belong in even in the prelims for the UFC. I'm going with Garry with flying flip Superman punch first round.
I know you made that up. I know you make that up, but he has a possibility of doing that. So that's kind of fun.
No, he's 6'3". He looks pretty athletic. He looks like the next what's that guy's name? Sage Northcutt. He's like an Irish Sage Northcutt that Dana's gonna get behind. He's gonna ride Gary's ballsack all the way to Ireland.
Our next bout at middleweight, we've got the Golden Boy Edmund Shahbazyan versus Russian sniper Nasruddin Imavov. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Imavov, minus 130. Come back on Shahbazyan plus 110. This fight is super, super damn close because they're both strikers. And depending on what each other's game plan is, either if they're going to stand up and duke it out, it could be incredibly close, possible split. This one, it really comes down to what Edmund's game plan is going to be. I'm thinking if he decides to wrestle, he has a chance of potentially winning. They're both essentially equally matched. Imavov has a 1-inch reach advantage, 75-inch compared to the 74, and a 1-inch height advantage, 6'3" compared to 6'2". And this one's tough because their striking, I would say, is equal. More so power when it comes to Shahbazyan, footwork and speed and technique. More Imavov. Again, it's super close. It was really tough for me to choose which guy I think is going to win because I can make a case for both guys. If Edmund decides to wrestle, I think it'll really work in his favor. If Nasruddin decides to wrestle, it definitely would work in his favor. I'm just worried about if I'm taking a shot on Edmund Shahbazyan to win if he gasses out in the later rounds. I think Imavov is a good prospect at middleweight. I don't think he'll ever really touch the title, but I think he's going to be one of these guys in the mid-range, maybe potentially top 10. He's nearly cracking the top 15. If it beats Shahbazyan, he'll be in that top 15. So yeah, it's a tough one for me to pick, but I will go with Imavov by decision. It's going to be primarily a striking battle, and it's just going to be tit for tat. I think Imavov might do the more flashier technique. Come the later rounds, I think it won't be as close. It'll just be more so round number 2 for sure Imavov, round number 3 for sure Imavov, round number 1 is going to be up in the air. So I'll go with Imavov decision.
Yeah, I'm going with Imavov as well. I'm going with Imavov. I don't think it's going to go beyond the second round. Shahbazyan, his kryptonite is grappling, wrestling specifically. So if Imavov, does a what's this guy's name? He performs a Brunson barrage, takes him down, and then grounds and pounds him in the second round, it's over. That's Edmund's weakness, wrestling specifically. I don't think he's come up against a top of the line jiu-jitsu guy just yet, grappling. But yeah, for sure, wrestling. I don't know if I seriously doubt he's been working on wrestling, or his team, and or if you want to call him a coach, has brought in guys to improve his wrestling. So I'm gonna go with Imavov, second round, spectacular knockout.
Our next bout, also at middleweight, Phil Megatron Hawes versus Chris the Action Man Curtis. This one, pretty damn easy. I hate to say that, but it was pretty easy. Given the odds, minus 350 for Phil Hawes, come back on Chris Curtis, plus 270. And I always, as you might know, like to see possible ways that the underdog could win, especially at nearly plus 300 odds. And the only way Chris Curtis could win is by knockout. He's not going to decision Phil Hawes. There's no possible way. He has to catch him early. And they were supposed to fight a couple cards ago. Very, very short notice. Phil Hawes, his opponent dropped out. And then they got Chris Curtis, who was at one point retired. And they brought him in to fight Megatron. Megatron declined to fight him because it was incredibly short notice, which I would say that was the best chance that Chris Curtis could have won that fight. With a Phil Hawes maybe overconfident in his skills without really watching enough tape on Chris Curtis, he might have gotten caught. Curtis, his primary weapon of choice is his boxing. Boxing's pretty solid. His 1-2s, just his combinations are really, really crisp and clean. But if he's fighting lower level competition, when he's fighting higher level competition, for example, Ray Cooper III, he gets knocked out. He's okay, right? He can come into the UFC and knock out some dudes that are not in the top 10 or in the top 20 or the 30, even top 50. I think he can beat those guys in the top like 51 and beyond. But currently, to beat Phil Hawes, it's going to take more than just a single-minded approach of boxing. Yes, he can catch Phil Hawes. I don't really trust Phil Hawes' chin, but his striking, his wrestling, his cardio as of late has been impressive. I think he's going to catch Chris Curtis either with ground and pound or with a incredibly fast punch he doesn't see coming. Just, I wouldn't put all your eggs in the basket of Phil Hawes. I am worried that he gets knocked out. Maybe if you want to take a shot on Chris Curtis, look at the knockout prop. I think he could do it, but I think the likelihood of it happening severely diminishes because of, Phil Hawes having that extra preparation. So I'll go with Phil Hawes to win. Obviously, the easiest route for him to do is to take him down and just pound him out. I think Chris Curtis's wrestling defense has looked improved, specifically his fight with Kenny Robertson. It looked improved, but again, he's fighting Kenny Robertson. Kenny Robertson's not top level competition. He's not as powerful or as explosive or as black as Phil Hawes. So I'll go with Phil Hawes to win this one, first round ground and pound knockout.
Yeah, I'm going with Megatron as well. I don't think the Action Man is going to see a lot of action. I think Phil Hawes is going to end this fairly quickly in the first round. And I think he's the moderate favorite. Actually, more than moderate favorite.
Pretty hefty favorite, yeah.
Yeah, he's Chris Curtis is, if he did have a prime, I think he's past it at 34 years old. He's coming in at the wrong time against the wrong guy. Because Phil Hawes, I do not believe Chris Curtis is the one who's going to stop Phil Hawes at this time.
Our next bout at lightweight, we've got the returning Raging Al Iaquinta versus King Bobby Green. Currently, the odds have it pretty close. I would say slight favorite for Bobby Green, minus 160. Comeback on Iaquinta, plus 135. I think those odds might be a steal for Bobby Green because Iaquinta coming back after a long layoff, 2 years, last lost to Dan Hooker by decision. I think Bobby Green takes this one. And there's not really much for me to say. Both of these guys have the same type of approach, wrestling, counter wrestling, and boxing. Bobby Green is just a way better version of Raging Al Iaquinta, other than the fact that I guess Al's more of a in-your-face kind of guy. Bobby Green's more of a styling on the outside type of guy. And even in that loss to Fiziev, he looked so damn impressive in that third round. Like, damn, he had me sweating. I'm like, do not knock out Fiziev. Do not knock him out. I think Fiziev would kill Iaquinta, knock him out in like maybe first or second round. For Bobby Green to withstand that type of barrage, I don't think Iaquinta is going to provide any sort of really dangerous attacks that Bobby hasn't seen. Bobby's just going to style on him and easily edge out the decision. He might even knock out Iaquinta. I don't think Iaquinta's been officially knocked out. I know he's been hurt and dropped by like Cowboy and such, but I think there's a chance that Bobby Green could put him out there. They're both aging guys, 34 years old for Iaquinta, 35 for Bobby Green, but Bobby Green's been more active, fought way better competition as of late. He's going to win this one. I'm going to stick with Bobby Green by decision. Plus, I love Bobby Green. So, yeah, Bobby Green just styles on Iaquinta.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this short. I think Bobby Green is going to murder Al Iaquinta. I don't think we're going to see Raging Al come in. We're going to see Real Estate Al come in. He isn't. He hasn't looked the same in quite a while. Since losing to Cowboy, 2+ years ago, and then he fought Dan Hooker 2 years ago. He hasn't looked the same. Sure, he beat Kevin Lee almost 3 years ago, but it's not really anything to be proud of. And sure, he hung in there with Khabib for 5 rounds, but I don't know. I don't think Khabib was trying. And sure, he knocked out Diego Sanchez, but yeah, man, I don't know. I think he's been focusing on real estate. He's just coming back, for a paycheck. At this point, he's only 34, but it just doesn't seem like his heart's in it anymore. He can talk about cannoli this and ravioli that, but yeah, he just doesn't seem like it's his heart's in it anymore. He's like I think he's like Tyron Woodley or even Cowboy Cerrone status at this point. Says he's there, he wants to keep making some money, but his heart's not in it. Bobby Green, he's going to have the length, he's going to have the footwork, he's going to have the jab. He's just going to have, he's basically going to outbox him. Al Iaquinta's only hope is to, I don't know, relentless takedowns, ground and pound, submission attempts, which I don't think he's going to do. I think Bobby Green's going to take this one. I think he's going to beat him within an inch of his life, kind of like how Nate Diaz beat Gray Maynard, the second time, I think.
Yeah, the second time. Beat the shit out of him, dude.
Yeah, he, Gray Maynard made Nate Diaz look really good, so that wasn't good for either of them, but that's how good Bobby Green is going to look against Al. Real Estate Al. It's not Raging Al anymore. So I think by TKO.
Our next bout at middleweight, very impressive debut. We've got Andreas Michailidis versus Alex Pereira. This is Alex Pereira, the 3-1 guy in MMA, who is currently a -255 favorite against a 13-4 guy, way more experience in MMA, who is currently a moderate underdog +205. And the reason for that, if most of you who don't know, I'm assuming you do because you're a smart crowd and you listen to Tiger Bomb MMA, Alex Pereira is the guy who knocked out Izzy Adesanya in kickboxing. And this guy's kickboxing credentials translated into MMA. At first, not so great. He has one professional loss. He's 3-1 again, and he lost by rear naked choke against some nobody. And ever since then, he's been on a tear. He's been knocking every dude out. His last fight against Thomas Powell, I was watching this in LFA, and I shit thee not. I'm watching this, and I see him land that beautiful, like absolutely delicious left hook to the side of the head. of Thomas Powell. Like you see that power translate from his legs to his ass to that left hook, and he drops Thomas Howell, and he's not getting up. Like it's a clean knockout, and he's not moving to the point. I'm like, oh, they're probably fucking with us. He's going to the UFC, so they want to really upplay his power and his striking. It got to the point where I'm like, oh my God, did he actually kill Thomas Powell? Because he is not moving. And it's like, at this point, it's like, this isn't funny anymore. Get the fuck up. He eventually gets up, but I'm like, damn, he knocked him the fuck out. And Pereira is a scary, scary striker. Andreas Michailidis, his only shot is to grapple the fuck out of Alex. That's the only way he wins this fight. I don't think it's going to work. I think Alex at this point, I know he's 34 years old. I think he's going to be fast tracked to potentially having that title shot against Izzy. A couple wins, a couple spectacular knockouts, and I think they're going to try to push that as soon as they can. It writes itself. The guy that knocked him out in kickboxing is now coming into the UFC, completely different game, trying to fight the champion. It sucks for Michailidis because when I saw this, I'm like, man, they are spoon feeding Michailidis to Pereira. His striking is not great for Michailidis. His grappling's like whatever. Like he beat KB Bular, but they both looked really bad in that fight. And yeah, man, there's a chance that Michailidis can win this one by a decision, just exploiting the ground game of Pereira. But it's gonna be like trying to take down a wood chipper, man. He's gonna get clipped with something. Yeah, I see Pereira knocking him out in the first round. I think his striking is just that spectacular. If he lands that left hook, don't be shocked if they don't show Michailidis on the screen for a little bit. So I'll go with Pereira to win this one by first round knockout, left hook.
Yeah, this is a very straightforward one. Andreas, his only prayer, is to go the route of that girl who beat, what's her name, in PFL, Shields, Larissa Shields, whatever her name was. Anyway, she was like a 1-2 girl or 2-1 or whatever. And, they're trying to hype up Clarissa Shields. But Clarissa Shields never bothered training, anything, any sort of a grappling wrestling defense. So I don't know if Pereira has or not, but that's Michailidis. That's his only hope at this point. Take it down immediately, feint a punch. If he goes for a kick, try to take him down there and keep it on the ground, and hope Pereira's a turtle on the ground. Because if he lets his pride, or if he listens to that little voice in the back of his head, his pride go, you can take this guy. Oh no, he's going to wish that the cage door opens up behind him, so that they can let him out.
That's funny.
But he is, that's his route to victory, man. Pereira, his route to victory is to beat his ass, just with left leg kicks, rib kicks, liver kicks, head kicks, arm kicks. He's just going to kick him, elbow him, until the cows come home. But Pereira, he's even a guy with a mid-level, even with jiu-jitsu takedowns, I think he can be beat in MMA because it's what they do. So if Michailidis' team has any sort of sense, that's what they trained in, and that's how he'll beat him. If he doesn't do that within the first exchange, he's going to get murdered, and he's going to signal for that cage to open up behind him, so that they can let him out and retire him once more. It's hard to make a pick here because, you want to go with Pereira because he's the striker, but, Michailidis, he's as bad as he looked. It's like, hey, he's got to fight for his life. So I'll take it. I'm staying away from this fight because, you really don't know. But I'm going with Michailidis with triangle choke, first round.
Arm triangle or leg triangle?
Both at the same time. An arm and leg triangle. I'll do a arm triangle choke. That's probably more likely. If he gets on top of Pereira, gets in missionary position, humps him a little bit, and Pereira's like, oh, what the hell? And then he lets him move to side control, gets the arm triangle, boom. He's like, man, why did it jump me?
Very, very possible. Yeah, and before we begin the main card, like to ask, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Apologies, very short notice. Usually we try to get these out Sunday night at the latest, but yeah, this week has been a bit off, mainly because of my vacation, so apologies for that. But we'll get right into this main card because there's a couple fights on this card that I've been dreaming about. One in particular, which we'll get to. The first one to start off, opening the main card, Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. This one pains me a lot to say because I don't have much to really add to this fight. I don't really have much to provide when it comes to the detail, breaking down tape. Chito Vera's a freaking dog, and he's so damn gritty. He finds a way to win each and every time. His progression in MMA has been incredible. He's been fighting and losing to some dudes that you think he should win against, and then he comes back and he beats guys. Andre Ewell knocks him out. And, he's had a couple stumbling blocks here and there, but just you see this guy and his skill level and how he's just determined to win each and every time, whether if he's losing every single round, every single minute, he'll find a way, just like he did against Brad Pickett in England, and he knocked him out with a head kick. Currently, the odds have it in favor of Marlon Vera, minus 160 compared to the Frankie Edgar side, plus 145 for Edgar. Edgar's 40 years old. We've seen his time coming to an end, and I think this is his it's a very winnable fight for Frankie Edgar, very, very much so, but there's 3 rounds. He's not going to finish Marlon Vera, and every round, every minute of the round is incredibly dangerous for Frankie Edgar. I think his chin has taken a lot of punishment, that's at this point, it's too much. At 40 years old, he's been knocked out so many times that it sucks to even bring him up, even talk about him. This is a guy who took his ass whooping from Gray Maynard twice, and eventually in the third fight ended up winning by knockout. We met the guy in Vegas, super fucking nice guy. So it's like, damn, could this be his last fight? Maybe, maybe not. I'd hope to see him leave the sport in a win just because of the huge balls this guy's had. 155 champ, fought for a title at 145, and he got a win at 135. At 135, it's tough for me to pick Frankie Edgar. I will say this, he could win a decision. So look at the odds for a decision, kind of get a feel for him. But I think the thing about Marlon Vera is that, let's just say, hypothetically, he loses both first and second round, getting completely grapple fucked. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, third round, he's going to come out looking for Frankie Edgar's head, and I think he will get it. I will predict that. I think Marlon Vera will get a third round knockout over Frankie Edgar. Frankie, he's very tough. His footwork is going to really make it a little difficult for Chito Vera to get off on his strikes, but eventually I think he's going to time something and catch Frankie Edgar, whether it be a left high kick or just something straight down the middle, an elbow. Again, Marlon Vera is very, very gritty, very nasty. He's going to have the height advantage, 2 inches, and the reach advantage over 2.5 inches. And I think something's going to come through and clip Edgar, and he's going to get finished, whether it be by clean knockout or TKO, more than likely TKO, but I'll go Chito Vera, third round TKO.
I disagree. I think Frankie does indeed have the answer to Marlon Vera's snack troubles. I don't think he really has what it takes to. I honestly think he got lucky against Sean O'Malley, mainly because Sean O'Malley's a pussy. And he has weak ankles, So I guess he's still undefeated, whatever. But he has not really impressed against top tier competition. I don't think he is top tier competition. I don't think he's, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the championship. To be quite honest, by the time, and he's only 28. Wow, I thought he was older.
He's a young.
Yeah, he doesn't age well. But by the time Frankie was his age, I think he was already fighting or he was already champion. And Frankie beat I think the best lightweight of all time. Everybody says Khabib, but Khabib only fought a few times. He didn't really fight all that much, but I think BJ is the best lightweight. Anyway, he beat BJ convincingly twice. You know what I mean? After going to war with Gray Maynard, he went to war with him again, and Frankie's just a warrior, man. He's sure he lost his last time out, but we'll hold it up against him because weird thing, man. I actually thought Corey Sandhagen. If I think if Dominic Cruz interviews Corey Sandhagen and you close your eyes, you won't tell who the hell's talking at any point. It's like they both have the same. It's like high pitched kind of scratchy voice. It's weird. It's like that joke on Family Guy where they have the round table and they have Kermit the Frog, Al Michaels, Ray Romano, and that guy who played Egon Spengler in Ghostbusters passed away. Director, I forget his name, but anyway, it's weird, man. They both have the same kind of very soft spoken. That's weird. Anyway, so Frankie got knocked out by Corey. Corey, lost to Peter. Jan lost to Glover like a little bitch. Polish power was nowhere to be found. But that's neither here nor there. He fucked my parlays, but who cares? So did the Jets. And what the fuck? The Bengals lost to the Jets last week. Am I bitter? Not really, but fuck, man. The Vikings couldn't handle a backup quarterback with the Cowboys. I mean, what the flying fuck? Anyway, going off on a tangent there, got that off my chest. Do I feel better? No, but I have to move on. I believe in Frankie. I'm riding with Frankie till he dies or I die, or until he's no longer in the UFC. I don't know what his contract looks like, but I know that he's going to beat Chito Vera. I don't think Chito Vera belongs even in the top 15 of the UFC. He's nowhere. I'm pretty sure they'll eventually, if he gets another win against a nobody, they'll match him up against Sean O'Malley again, unless they're scared, and be like, oh, we have to push Sean O'Malley to whatever. Anyway, sucks. I mean, not that I dislike Chito Vera. It's just that I'm a big Frankie fan, man. Like you said, we met him in Vegas. Really cool guy. He's always there for a fight. And I don't think Marlon has a great flying knee, so I don't anticipate him knocking him out. If anything, I think Frankie will, do his, footwork where he shuffles, does his, 3 or 4 punch barrage and does that over and over and over again. Like when he beat this guy, Pedro Munoz. I think Chito Vera is just a less talented Pedro Munoz. So I think Frankie's going to get the W here. He's going to get a decision. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I anticipate him just being the volume guy, getting a few takedowns. And I'm riding with Frankie, man. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to put him in probably a $1 parlay, but still, I'll put him in there.
Our next bout at featherweight, a hell of a fight. Shane Burgos versus Billy Quarantillo. What did we do to deserve this fight? This is a hell of a fight. I kept thinking about it. I'm like looking through the card. I'm like, holy shit, we're getting Shane Burgos versus Billy Q. And this was like a pleasant surprise. I completely forgot about it. So when I was doing research on the card, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be the best Madison Square Garden card ever. And currently we have -200 favorite for Burgos, come back on Billy Q +165. This one was super hard for me to break down at first because I'm like, I think Billy Q might be able to get this fight because, Burgos is, he's not been looking best. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, but Jesus Christ, what a 2-fight losing streak to be talking about. Like Burgos is the type of guy that he can lose every single fight and you would still think he's a winner just the way he's winning. The motherfucker, I was there when he fought Edson Barboza live and I see him get clipped and he's just standing there smiling at him. Then his body eventually just gives out on him. I'm like, oh my God, what what a freaking warrior this guy is. Like, he was knocked out and his body refused to give up. And then, God, man, it even pains me to put his picture like that on the screen right now, just because it's like, man, I respect and I love the way Shane Burgos fights. He's always down for a fight. The only problem is that he's always down for a fight, and that could be the detriment that can lose him the fight. He is willing to like scrap it out, and that's what concerns me about this one. I think Burgos is a very talented guy. He's fought the better competition. He is the taller guy by 1 inch, and he's going to have a significant reach advantage of 5.5 against Billy Q. Billy Q, his cardio and his jiu-jitsu game are fantastic. He uses cardio as a weapon, which I love to see in a fighter. His striking is getting improved. He actually dropped Gabriel Benitez. He eventually finished him. It wasn't like an incredible, like, oh my God, I can't believe they didn't stop the fight earlier type of finish. It was just like, oh, he's just getting barraged, so they have to stop the fight. Am I concerned that Billy Q can drop Shane Burgos? Normally I'd say no, but after getting knocked out and dropped a lot in his last few fights, it's a bit of a worry for me that Billy can maybe catch him with something. He's really putting a lot of putting all his weight in that punch, that overhand. They're both kind of wild. I would say cardio advantage goes to Billy Q. Shane Burgos has the power advantage. They both can be a bit wild in there. So when they exchange, it's going to be insane. I got to go ride or die with Shane Burgos, man. I think he has I think he's going to have the right game plan. I think if you attack the body of Billy Q, avoid getting clinched up, just avoid those crazy scrambles with him. I do like Billy Q's ground game, but I think he is easily controllable if you know what you're doing and you don't provide him with an opportunity for him to take your back and get the body triangle on you. I think Shane Burgos' overall game is better. It's just that, again, he's too high for me to bet on straight, -200. I think it should be a pick 'em between both of these guys. I think obviously the striking advantage will go to Shane Burgos. Power advantage, of course. It's just that I'm really worried that he gets dropped, because if Shane Burgos gets dropped, Billy Q's going to jump on him and maybe dominate that round, possibly even get a 10-8, and then it's going to be really hard for him to get back in those rounds. So we'll see. But I think Shane Burgos has the ability to take this one by a decision. I don't think they'll be able to finish each other. I'd love to see a finish from Shane. I'd love to see. I don't want to say I want to see Billy get finished, because I like Billy as well. But I would like to see Shane Burgos get such a win in Madison Square Garden in his backyard of New York, and just give him what he deserves, because he's been putting on some of these incredible fights. Him and Josh Emmett, him and Barboza. I think he deserves it. But yeah, I think he's a bit too high for me to bet on or even put him on a parlay. But I'll go with him to win this one by a decision. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I looked at this and I'm like, the line is off. Shane Burgos should be like a -500 favorite. And that's just so Billy Q can be like a +300 or 400 underdog, because I'm going with Billy Q, man. I think the line is off. I think the wrong guy's favored. I don't think Shane Burgos is honestly UFC caliber. I don't think he's bothered rounding out his game. I think this is going to be Billy Q's night. He's going to take over on the ground, I believe, and take Shane Burgos into deep water. I think Billy Q is going to get a decision, but very possible, he may transition into submission of some sort, either like maybe get his back, get a rear naked, or maybe even a Kimura or something. Who knows? Depending on what positions he gets on Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos is, he's going down, man. I'm going with another underdog here. I'm going to parlay this with Frankie Edgar, Billy Q, and Frankie Edgar, man, for the win.
Our next bout at lightweight. I'm pausing here because I'm reminiscing when Justin Gaethje was in World Series of Fighting and Michael Chandler was in Bellator. And I thought to myself, as I was in my then roommate's basement, as I was like stripping the paint off of my Mercedes 300D hubcaps, I'm like, man, it would be so cool to see Michael Chandler versus Justin Gaethje, but it might not happen. And that was like what, almost 10 years ago or so, 9 years ago. And now we finally have it. And I get to see the fight that I've been like wanting for, like a wet dream of mine, just in the highlight Gaethje versus Iron Michael Chandler. Oh my God, man. Like, I know it might not be in their most prime of primes. I think, frankly, Justin Gaethje might be in his prime now. And maybe Chandler's on his way out, but it's still like, holy shit. I'm super excited for this one. This is like my main event. Not to discredit like the actual two title fights, but this one is like the one I've been wanting to see for a long fucking time. And this one is essentially a mirror match. Really, both of these guys go out there. They're both wrestlers. They're both heavy-handed. They both have the cardio. Their chins are a little suspect. I think Justin Gaethje's recovery is good. Michael Chandler's chin is kind of suspect, but he can recover as well. They're both very tough guys, and this is going to be a striking battle. I'd be surprised if Justin Gaethje goes for a takedown. I really would be. He has done it before, but I'd be surprised. And Michael Chandler, I think he's more willing to go for the takedown. I think he's more willing to mix it up between the two. It's going to be interesting to see if Chandler can handle the leg kicks of Justin Gaethje. I think he will. It's like, man, this one's super fascinating. Like, I almost don't want to make a pick because I just want to sit back and enjoy it. I should mention the odds. Currently odds have it in favor of Justin Gaethje minus almost 200, minus 195. Come back on Chandler plus 155. I think that's ridiculous. This should be a lot closer. I'm actually going to go with Michael Chandler, and I've had this pick in mind for a while. I think Chandler is going to knock out Justin Gaethje, and the reason for that is that I think Chandler is going to be the faster guy. I think he's more cerebral in the cage. Justin's been working on game plans a lot with Trevor Whitman, Elevation Fight Team, and he's improved a lot. But I think his chin isn't as great as a lot of people think it is. His recovery is good, but he does get hit a lot. He gets hurt a lot. He gets wobbled a lot in his fights. And a guy with the power and speed of Michael Chandler, I think he's going to catch him and either knock him out cold or finish him with strikes. And that's just my prediction, because I could be saying the exact same thing about Justin Gaethje. Like, I'm very, very split on this one. I'm like 55% opposed to 45% as to who wins this one, and they keep fluctuating. My 55% is going with Chandler, just because, again, I think although he got knocked out by Charles Oliveira, he was doing really well against Charles, and his downfall was he kept his fucking hands low. And I think he's really learned from that, because he didn't keep it simple, stupid. He threw a shot and his hands were low, and he tends to do that a lot, which makes me think, man, I think Gaethje could catch him, but that speed and that speed of that right hand is absolutely ridiculous, man. If he lands it on Gaethje, he's going to hurt Gaethje and make him do a chicken dance and then just finish him off. And if he does get hurt, I think he's willing to wrestle. I know both of these guys wrestling might cancel out, but I think Gaethje, I think he's just so opposed to wrestling. He wants to be that highlight guy that might cause him to lose this fight, because Chandler might just control him. I'm hoping to God it's not a boring ass fight against the cage. I doubt it, but I'll go with Chandler. I might actually take a small shot on him to win this one by a finish. But I'm hoping to God this is like the barn burner that I've been wanting for, because you think of these fucking fights like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this fight. Oh my God, it's going to be Black Beast versus Francis Ngannou, and then it's like a piece of shit fight. So for the love of God, please don't let it be that. But I'll go with Chandler to win first round knockout.
Oh man, you ruined my parlay. I'm also going with Chandler. I was going to give this whole speech about how the line is off, and Gaethje should be a minus 600 or 700 favorite, so that Chandler can be like a plus 400, 500 underdog. And yeah, I'm also going with Chandler here, man. Gaethje, I don't like Gaethje. He beat one of the all-time greats in Kukui. He got lucky that fight, man. Kukui was in a weird place then. No way would he have beat Kukui before that. That same strategy I don't think will work with Chandler, even though Chandler got knocked out. It's been 5 months. I think he should have recovered by now. I don't think one punch or whatnot is going to just scramble his brains again. I think he's had enough time. Chandler is very good. He's got great movement. He isn't going to stand right in front of Gaethje. But more importantly, I think when he's going to catch some of Gaethje's kicks, take him to the ground, and get some ground and pound in, man. And I think that's how he's gonna win this fight, on the ground. I'm running through a lot of action, a lot of sequences in my head, but I see Chandler I see Gaethje throwing a lot of volume, but I see Chandler catching it, and taking him down. I think the takedowns are going to be the difference in this fight. That's what's going to, either guy could knock each other out, and this is a 3-round fight, right?
Yep.
It's 3 rounds. So it's going to be like one big blur of action. If it goes to 3 rounds, these guys are going to go hard. Gaethje is going to go hard for sure. Chandler's going to come at him. So it's going to be 2 guys going hard.
HARD, baby.
Yeah, two guys going hard, 2 hard guys going at it. Well, maybe not that last one. You don't want that. It's not how it sounds. And also, so in these sorts of matchups, where you have a shorter grappler versus a taller striker, I think it benefits the grappler, because he's closer to the ground, right? So if he's shorter, that means, he has less distance to get down and, for takedowns and whatever. So I think that benefits Chandler as well. So I'm riding with Chandler. Again, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Sure, I'm only going to include him in a $1 parlay, but I'm riding, man. I'm riding with the underdogs here.
Next bout, co-main event for the strawweight championship. Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang 2. And currently the odds have it, pick 'em, -110, -110. I guess the narrative is kind of flipped around a little bit. When this first was announced for the first fight, Weili Zhang was this unstoppable beast. She's putting on great performances, riding a crazy amount of momentum, hasn't lost in such a long ass time, huge win streak. Rose has been one of these hot and cold fighters that, she talks about not wanting to be champ and having mental lapses in their performances haven't been incredibly great. She lost to Jessica Andrade, lost the belt by slam. Her fight with Jessica the second time around, very close split decision. And we saw what Weili Zhang did to Jessica Andrade to win the belt, and then her epic battle with Joanna. And Rose comes in here swinging her big dick, lands a huge head kick, and here we are. She's champion again, and she keeps proving to us why she is one of the best in her division. And frankly, in the UFC, she deserves to be up in the same ranking as, of course, Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. It's just that she doesn't have that level of dominance yet. But in this particular case, the way things are going between both of these girls, we've got Rose, who she seems to finally gotten her mental issues kind of down. She's more relaxed. She's feeling more suited as being considered one of the best in the world, as she discussed during her post-fight, freak out, I'm the best in the world. Pat Barry, man, I love Pat Barry. Gave me a really good moment with that. Weili Zhang is training right now with Fight Ready Henry Cejudo, and that's a good sign for her, but I think it's a little too late. Unfortunately, I think that plays right into the hands of Rose, and that really tells me that Weili is afraid to kind of engage with Rose again, because I think they brought it up in the embedded that the last time Weili saw Rose was after she woke up from getting knocked out. And that seems to have put, in my mind, a bit of doubt in Weili Zhang when it comes to Rose and the striking. She doesn't want to get caught again. So she is training her wrestling with Henry Cejudo, who, again, that's fantastic. You go to the best, especially in those lower weight classes, but that plays right into the hands of Rose. Rose is not going to just get taken down and not go for a sub. She'll go for a fucking Kimura trap. That's her bread and butter. She'll go for a Kimura trap. She'll try to sweep. She'll go for triangles. I don't think it's going to go well for Weili the second time around, especially if she comes with a grappling heavy game plan. I see this one going one of two ways. Either Rose wins this one by a decision, just the striking battle. She'll prove that she's the better fighter between the two, just like she did with Joanna the second time around. Unfortunately for Wiley, it's a little too late for her. Had she not gotten knocked out and made these changes, going to fight ready, training with Cejudo, to me, it's a good thing. But again, it seems like a bad sign for her that she's going to try to grapple Rose and try to avoid the striking. So much so that I think it's going to be to her detriment. So I'll go with Rose Namajunas to win this one. I'm going to actually say she'll win by a decision. She'll completely dominate the striking because Wiley's going to be a little too hesitant. She might just kind of panic and try to go for takedowns. She'll get some, but she's not going to like what she gets on the ground. So I'll go with Rose to win this one by a decision.
Well, I'm continuing my trend. I'm going with the under. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going with the underdog here. Well, actually, you know what? That's not. They're both even, so I guess I can't go with the underdog technically because they're both even. But I would also rather be dead than red, as Rose said. Oh, that all rhymed. Didn't think that went through all the way, but Rose, she's just a better mixed martial artist. She has a superior style. She has great footwork. She has a fantastic jab. She has great kicks. She also has great jiu-jitsu. And it's just too much for Weili at this point. I think Weili got lucky against what's her face that she beat for the title.
Andrade.
She also has yeah, there you go. I was gonna say my favorite one. What is it? OnlyFans account. Rose is just the best in that division. Before I guess Joanna came along. There would honestly, I think Rose is gonna win this, and it's gonna set up a fight between, a rematch between, funny enough, Rose and what's her face, Cookie Monster.
Oh, that'd be
Carla
cool.
Esparza.
That's what should have been the fight to make, but here we are.
I think, yeah, man. I was like, why the hell did they avoid it? I think Esparza is out with an injury, unless I'm mistaken. And that injury is that she's butthurt that they didn't give her the title shot. But I think that would have been honestly, I think that was a better storyline. Carla working her way back up after all these years to another title shot after getting the hell beat out of her by Joanna. And it would have been fun. It would have been funny if she had, they had rematched. She beats Rose again, and then Joanna comes back to rematch Carla Esparza.
Perfect timing.
That would have Carla Esparza would have shit her pants. Even if Joanna's coming back, it would be funny if that is the narrative going forward. Dana White's like, well, these are the fights to make. Anyway, here I'm sticking with Rose. Rose going to beat her ass again. Unfortunately, Weili is she's going to play second fiddle to Rose again. And again, however many times they fight, whether it be for the title or not. Rose looks like she's got her shit together. She's gotten over the fact that I think she's more willing to accept that she is the best. I'm just going with Rose, man. I think the line is a good value, being close to even. I wish they had made, Weili the favorite. And that way, you could have won more money betting on Rose. But I think, the money's going to come in on Rose, and she'll be like a minus 200 favorite probably by the time fight night comes around. Maybe, depending on how much money goes in on her.
Our next bout, main event of the evening, Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2. And currently the odds have it in favor of Usman, of course, minus 310. Come back on Covington, plus 240. This is the fight to make at welterweight. I've been looking forward to the rematch. The first fight was incredible. Unfortunately, it ended in somewhat controversy, depending on, I guess, what side you're on. I can see it both ways. It is what it is for me, but I'm kind of leaning towards, I kind of want to see a definitive end to that fight. Part of me thinks, yeah, Covington, although he wasn't like fully defending himself, some of those shots that ended the sequence at the end of the fight they were a little questionable. So I'm really excited to see this one. When it comes to both of these guys, I can clearly say Kamaru has been the more improved fighter that we've seen so far, just because he's been fighting more frequently. The only downside for that is that he's been fighting blown up lightweights. And I know that's kind of the storyline that Colby keeps saying, is that he's fighting blown up lightweights. But yeah, a bit of it is true, right? Like, he hasn't really fought an actual welterweight other than, I guess, Gilbert Burns. You know, he had a great run. And what really diminished that for me, and it sucks to say, is that he got dropped a lot by the jab. And Usman's jab has been impeccable ever since he started working with Trevor Whitman. It's been like night and day. Like, his striking, his calculation in the cage is a lot better. And of course, him knocking out Jorge Masvidal was incredible. I wouldn't say I was surprised that he would knock out Jorge. It's just that it was kind of a shock. Like, oh shit, yeah, he knocked him out cold. I thought he would maybe finish him with strikes, but he knocked him out with one fucking punch. I was like, damn, this dude he's getting a lot better over time. Colby, of course, now with MMA Masters, he's talking a lot about his improvements, and it seems as if he's in a better spot now, opposed to where he was when he was at American Top Team during the first fight. It's just that I don't know if I want to take a shot on him. I think these two are clear cut number one, number two, and I want to see a trilogy fight. I want to see Colby Covington win so we can see a third fight. I don't know if that's going to happen though. I think it's possible. I think the odds, I think they're accurate, but they don't really show the level of danger that Usman could be when it comes to the striking and the cardio of Colby Covington. What really bothered me about the first fight from Colby was that he didn't use any wrestling. He just tried to strike with him. And I don't like when people downplay how well Colby was doing in that fight. I'm not like a Colby nuthugger. I do like the guy. I think he's funny. It's just that, like, give the guy some fucking credit. He was hurting Usman so much so that after the fight, Usman was like, yo, he came to fight. He came to fight. Like, yeah, he was hurting your ass. And yeah, it eventually went Usman's way, deservedly so. It's just that there are still some question marks when it comes to both of these guys. Usman, again, he's been demonstrating his progression. His wrestling, of course, is going to be dominant. Surprisingly enough, his cardio is great as well, even though he has the bad knees. And I'm always like questioning that, like, not to say, oh, the CEO of EPO, but it's like, how does this motherfucker have great cardio when his knees are terrible? So I'm always like curious about it. Whatever he's doing, running on sand or just doing like the lip, I don't know what the fuck he does. I'm not really studying his training routine. For Colby, I know he works really hard all the time. He doesn't party, doesn't drink, doesn't do anything. He just stays focused on coming up with some pretty corny ass one-liners and training, and that's it. So I'm interested to see this fight. I'm very, very interested. Again, I'm kind of rooting for Colby because I want that third fight. That'd be like splendid. But it's hard to pick against Usman right now because we've actually seen his progression opposed to Colby. His last fight was against fucking Tyron Woodley a year ago. Although he did destroy his rib and he broke him so bad that he got defeated by fucking Jake Paul. That's how badly he beat the shit out of Tyron Woodley. Frankly, for me, I'm not betting this one. I think it's a dog or pass for me. I might take a shot on Colby, but I think Usman wins this one. I'm not going to say he's going to knock out Colby Covington. I think Colby's making the right improvements with his boxing. If he puts things together well, I think he can win this one. And I think it's going to be a shock to a lot of people, but not necessarily to me. But I'll go with Usman to win this one by a decision because, again, if they come out basically round number 6, it's going to be the same of the same. And I think Usman could just have the better moments in there that could lead to that decision win. But again, it's anyone's fight for me. But I'll go with Usman to win. That jab, man, I got to say that jab is very nice. I think that's going to play a huge factor in this fight. It might cut up the face of Colby, which could lead him to that decision win. So I'll go with Usman to win this one by a unanimous decision.
I mean, my heart, wants, is going with Kobe. Sort of like my heart was with Jan. He's been demoted to Jan Brady now. He's no longer Blachowicz. Last week, but he bitched out on the ground against Glover. All due credit to Glover. I'm happy for Glover. He's a champ, man. If anybody deserves it in that division, it's definitely Glover, man. Glover's, he's an inspiration to a lot of people. Man. He's an inspiration to me. I'm only saying that for the podcast. He's not really an inspiration to me. But Glover seems like a cool dude. Seems like, he trained hard. He beat a lot of guys. He beat them convincingly. He came back to win a lot of fights. He's been the underdog. He won as an underdog. Man, that guy deserves every bit of success.
That, and he completely ruined every single one of my parlays last week because I was so confident in Jan that I had him in every parlay, and I had near perfect parlays, like almost an entire full card parlay. Perfect, with the last one being Jan. And I'm like, oh, I got this shit. I'm counting my fucking money. I'm like, fucking Glover. So I'm like conflicted. I'm like, damn, this piece of shit, Jan. But I'm like, I'm happy for Glover. Yeah. But if anyone was going to ruin my parlays, that's a good trade-off. Like Glover had that happy moment in the cage. So I'm like, I'm okay losing a bit of money. Not really, but yes, it's like, that makes myself feel better.
No, my top 3 pieces of garbage, and I'm just saying garbage instead of shit, even though I just said shit. But anyway, for last week at the top, definitely, I'd say top 3 are the Jets, the Vikings. No, actually, it should be the Bengals that I should be pissed at because they're the ones that fucking lost. So the Bengals, the Vikings, and Jan could have had a big fucking payday last week. I got 9 out of 10. Jan fucked me. The Bengals fucked me. The Lions the Lions. I expected them to lose, but I didn't expect them to get fucking wiped. I didn't expect the Eagles to wipe their ass with the Lions. Jesus Christ. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that they all got their faces wiped by their opponent, in their ass. Anyway, this is a hard fight. Like I said, I'm rooting for Kobe. I like Kobe. I know he does all this shit. I think he's funnier, than Conor was way back when. I think he's more creative with his cheesy liners, when he calls everybody virgins and nerds. It's like, well, we're either one or the other, But I think Colby's a very entertaining guy. I'm with him, man. But unfortunately, I have seen Usman's progression. I've been against Usman just because I don't like him. I'm not going to bet on this fight because I don't want to make money off of Kobe's misery. But I am anticipating Usman to fight. I think his striking, especially his, the combination of his wrestling, his EPO use, and his striking, and has come to a level where he's like, okay, this guy's the fucking champ now. Before I was like, he beat Woodley, so fucking what? He got kind of lucky with Covington because he didn't fucking use any defense the last time around or any wrestling. But Kobe's got a fuck, man. Kobe's path to victory: use his fucking wrestling, use his pressure, use that shit against Usman because Usman's usually the one pressuring guys, wrestling, pushing them around. He's got to push his ass back. You know what I mean? He's got to take the CEO EPO into those deep waters. And just take him out, man. Because I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy, but I want to see Kobe with that belt. He's one of my favorite fighters at the moment. He's a very entertaining guy. I think he's funny. I think he's hilarious. But he's also, I've seen other videos of him like talking to like regular guys, and he seems like a very, very cool dude. Unlike Usman, man, that guy looks like a piece of shit.
It's funny that you say that. I think I've kind of softened on Usman on his personal life. He seems like a nice guy. He just says some really stupid shit. He tries to be like entertaining, but it comes across like not purposely cringy, but just accidentally cringy, which makes it like worse than what Colby says sometimes. Like Colby's doing it just to get a reaction, but Usman's trying to kind of be cool. And I'm like, ugh. But like in his personal life, he seems like a pretty nice guy, like good father. Good to his parents and shit, but it's like when he tries to be cool, I'm like, what a fucking loser.
I'm not gonna go there. I'm not going to talk about family and whatever. But I don't like Usman. Period. Personally, as a person, fighter, as whatever. I don't. Fortunately, I think he is the best in that division right now. That is until Khamzat takes his hands on him, and he wants the smoke, bro. You know, he wants his smoke. He wants the smoke. Yeah, like I said, my heart is with Kobe, but as a pick, I'm taking Usman by decision. I mean, the KO prop might want to sprinkle a little bit on that if you're going with the Usman side. If you're riding with Usman, I hate saying that, man. Riding with fucking Usman. I'd rather be red than ride with Usman, to be honest.
Oh man.
But that's my pick, man. And you know what? Once again, fuck the Bengals, fuck the Lions, fuck the Vikings. I hope they fucking lose. Even though the Bengals' chances at getting to the Super Bowl just got a lot better with the Titans' chances going down the fucking hole with Derrick Henry being out. Anyway, that's another story. That's another podcast that doesn't exist at the moment. That's just me rambling because I am pissed. I am really fucking pissed. Jan fucked me, but that was the start of me getting fucked by three or four times over 2 days, which is not cool.
Well, moving on to the segment where we break down possible parlays. I've got a very quick one that I'm semi positive on. I got Ian, Garry, Phil Hawes, Bobby Green, and I'm thinking about doing Alex, but I think Alex is a little too high. I might just add him by finish. Currently, if I do it all money line with those four, it's a plus 271, which I like. I might do a couple dollars there, and I might do a couple just straight bets. Like for sure, I'm doing Michael Chandler. I think he's that fight's a 50-50, man. They can both knock each other out. And for him to be nearly plus 200, he's currently plus 170 in my current casino lines. So I like that. And I'm going to say, fuck it. I'm going to give a little bit of sprinkle on Kobe to win because I think he has a chance to win. He's either going to make it competitive or he's going to get blown out of the water. And I'm willing to take a chance that it'll be competitive again. And, call me fucking crazy, but I think he can knock out Usman. I don't think Usman's chin is like all incredibly impressive. I think he's just, the guys he's been fighting, he's able to kind of push forward, take him down, and doesn't really get hit a lot. And I think Kobe might be able to catch him with like a head kick or something. So possible for that. Rose, if she goes into plus money, which it's leaning towards right now, again, with my current casino odds, they have it minus 115 Zhang, minus 106 for Rose. So I'm hoping that goes to plus money. And yeah, I think that's it for me when it comes to the parlays. What are you thinking?
So here's I'm always trying to refine my betting so that I don't like an idiot bet on the fucking Vikings to win. Bet all my weekly winnings on the piece of shit Vikings to beat the Cowboys with a goddamn backup quarterback. So I'm always trying to refine my winnings and control myself, but sometimes like a fucking dumbass, I'm like, hey, yeah, this team's gonna win. They fucking lose, like betting on the goddamn Dodgers to beat the Braves. So man, I could go on and on. Stupid fucking decisions on my part. I'm more mad at myself than I am at the piece of shit Bengals and Vikings and Lions, not to cover their goddamn spreads. And Jan, oh, fuck Jan, where was that Polish power?
In the hotel
anyway,
room.
So yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that bottle. I don't know if you saw the embedded, but he gave it was Glover's birthday, and he gave him a bottle of like Polish beer.
Oh God, that was his power.
No. No, I guess he used the bottle's power in his room before giving it to Glover. Anyway, I don't know. That didn't come out right, but basically he fucked himself. Is what I'm trying to say.
You're saying that he shoved the bottle up his ass?
Pretty much.
Okay.
He basically fucked himself, and then handed it over to Glover as a symbol, whatever. Anyway, so I'm always trying to refine my bets, and I think the way to go, like the bets, straight bets are honestly the way to go. but you have, in order to win a lot, you have to bet a lot, and it's risky. I understand that. Especially with MMA, the lines are juiced, meaning that they're high. Sometimes you find a good deal, like with Rose, and like Frankie, and I think Billy Q. I think those odds are in their favor, meaning because I think they're going to win. Like I pick fighters to win, and then if the odds, if they're plus money or as close to minus 100 as they can be, if that happens to be so, then fantastic. But in MMA, it's different than NFL, NBA, and these other sports in that there's no spread betting. You know what I mean? It's just different in combat sports. But that being said, parlays I know are very tempting. You know what I mean? For example, in the NFL and football, they have teasers, where you can tease the spread, and then that makes your, I guess, bet a little bit easier to swallow, with regard to point spreads, because those things fucking kill me. I usually just bet on the money line. But anyway, betting on the money line, what I'm trying to say is parlays are risky. I'm trying to do better myself, become a better, and limit my parlays to like 2 or 3 person or maybe 4 person parlays if and only if I'm absolutely sure these people are going to win. Like if I see big ass mismatches, I'm going to do a 4 person parlay. But like last week, had I hit that 10 person parlay, fucking ching, that would have been money. But no, Chan had to shove that bottle up his ass before the fight, and he not only fucked himself, he fucked everybody who believed in his stupid Polish ass power.
We got 5 minutes left, dude. You gotta wrap it up.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, point I'm trying to make is I'm just gonna list out the fighters that I'm gonna include in my parlays, but I'm probably gonna mix them up in no more than 3 or 4 person parlays. So I'm going with Usman, I'm going with Rose, I'm going with Chandler, Billy Q, Frankie Edgar, Bobby Green, Phil Hawes, and Milsic, Baghdasaryan. So I'm gonna take all those fighters and just mix them up into like, at most 3 or 4 person parlays, so that, try to mix them up so that, let's say if one person, so that maybe no one person is in all of my parlays, so that I don't get fucked, the whole way through, so that I can at least make a little bit of a profit or do something of that sort. I found that works, except when I go fucking insane and do the 10 person parlays. That's what fucks me. But when they hit, man, that shit hits. So there's few feelings like that.
If you were to do all those guys and gals in a $5 parlay, it'll give you about $631.
All right, so I'm hopefully winning $600 this Saturday, unless the Jets fuck me on Sunday.
Oh, and they will. But those have been our picks for UFC 268, Usman versus Covington 2. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe as always. That's been Johnny and Jose, Tiger Bomb MMA, and we'll catch you at the next fight.